You share those tots, Dion?
Yes, I love you some tots here. Ore-Ida does not pay us, but when you see the 8 pound bag at Costco,
Oh man,
you gotta, that's what you got the extra refrigerator and freezer downstairs for.
I don't know why every fast food place doesn't have a tots option. They could upsell me a
Well,
dollar more.
the,
I'm getting tots every time.
the air fryer has changed our life in the last year, and no
Easy.
doubt about that. Yeah, it's easy. We ate healthy tonight: hot dogs and tater tots.
I just don't have a grasp of time on the air fryer, how long everything takes. Like I do a microwave, I pretty much know, right?
Yeah,
I don't know it yet for the air fryer. It's all trial and error still with
I'm
me.
I'm getting better. I look everything up if I can to get ideas.
Yeah.
I've done burgers in there. They turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. You don't have to, it doesn't take as long as the oven.
Yeah.
Still quality taste, better tasting than the microwave, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I've done like some frozen patties from Costco
Let's go.
in there. They were delicious. You can only do two at a time because they're pretty big sized. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's how my kids cook basically is the air fryer. They all, at college they both have one at school and all that stuff. And
we got Kate's parents knocked it out of the park this year. Panini press and an air
got
fryer.
one of those too. Those are
Yeah, and
good.
then it's like it's a high end panini press. It's got two sides to it. You can order like waffle irons, stuff for it. We haven't done that yet, but we've gotten into the home quesadilla business.
Ours is our like the hinge is broken on ours, so it's wobbly. You just got to get up there and press it down. It still does the
Yeah,
job.
no, it's the one we
Yeah.
got's really nice, and
There's no reason
um,
to have a basic sandwich anymore. Make
no,
your sandwich, put it on the panini press.
and with our quesadillas, we've gone back to shredding your own cheese because it melts better. It's a better product.
No,
And
don't do
then
that.
the other thing, the other life changer. Oh well, I'll tell you, $30 at Costco. We got a grater that basically you just put it right here and you go, and I mean, it's
Uh,
you hand crank that.
I
We
don't
get
think
two
we have
blocks of cheese
blocks
in a
of
minute.
cheese though. We just buy my wife has so many bags of shredded cheese.
Oh, we do that too, but
Our drawer can fit like 10 bags of shredded cheese. She'll at least have 12 at all times. So they're always spilling out. We're stuffing them in there and they can't, there's overflow. Yeah.
we went back to like we do still do like if we're doing tacos or something like that, just regular, pre-shredded cheese. But when we started doing our sheet pan nachos two Chiefs runs ago in the playoffs, we went to the freshly grated
Nice.
cheese, and so we invested in the cheese grater. Used it for the first time over the weekend, and it's a game changer. You're not sitting there with the thing doing this, and you just put it in and just it's gone. And in 45 seconds, a whole block of cheese shredded into a
Well,
bowl like this.
this is only partly a cooking show here. It's mostly
Now,
high school football
this is
show.
what happens when you come
Like a pod.
when you record later at night and you're post
Yeah,
dinner.
during supper time. Well,
Yeah.
dinner for you. I call it supper. But yeah, no, we were here talking high school football here on the Kansas Missouri side. I want to talk about last week, and let's start there. What is happening in 6A in Kansas? Like the West. They don't just beat Gardner. They kind of thump them a little bit.
Well,
They were in control of that game throughout.
I did an interview today for a radio show with John Weimers, and I told him, I said, the second it seemed like I said to myself, Gardner Edgerton's going to mess around and win it, you guys were
Told me
putting
that. Yeah,
touchdowns,
yeah.
putting touchdowns on him. He's like, I said, so I'm not going to pick anybody. He said, don't pick anyone. Don't pick us. Don't make us the favorites this week. And I go,
No.
no. I said, I'm making no one the favorite.
The
And on the
Dion
east side
kick of
too.
death.
Yeah, on the east side or on the west side too.
Yeah.
Manhattan's like okay.
5A is loaded this year, and
Yes.
6A is you toss it up.
It's whoever's playing best those last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Gotta
And,
be, yeah.
and you're talking about Olathe West, and what a good win for them. Brody Hale, their quarterback, played well. Sam
Well, biggest win
Kriskowski.
in school history, if not the biggest, right?
Yeah, Sam Kriskowski, I think is how you say it. Kriskowski, I think is how you say his name, and a receiver. And I totally not put two and two together until conversation with one Kelly Donohue, who was asking about their quarterback situation because they had Cameron Cruz the last 2 years, who moved with his father, who's a football coach, to Tennessee,
Mhm.
and he's a college football coach. And so Brody Hale took over at the quarterback spot. And talking with Coach Weimers, he said, here's the thing: Brody and Sam Kriskowski have been playing football together since like fifth or sixth grade. He
Hmm.
goes, they literally get, he goes, there's a lot of stuff we do, and that's not what was called. He goes,
Yeah.
they go out there and just kind of playground it. They know where the other one's going to be. And that passing attack is dangerous. And when they played a few weeks ago, we covered them, and Andy Meyer for our went out there and said, everybody knows they're throwing to him and they still can't stop
Sure, yeah. One of
him
those.
because he's good at finding an open spot and Hale's good at delivering it. And a big win for Olathe West. And, they're playing well right now. Latham Northwest is playing well right now. I mean, it's pick a name. I don't know a lot of people like Shawnee Mission East, and
Hmm.
they're playing pretty well. And
It
Shawnee Mission
seems like,
Northwest
I
even
mean, the EKL has been the class of all Kansas football leagues for so long. Feels like they've taken a dip this year.
yeah
They got Aquinas, right, and St. James and Blue Valley. I think he's going to make some noise, and there's still good teams there, but not just the. I mean, a lot of years you have 6 or 7 teams, right, in the EKL that you can point to and say, well, they're planning on winning a state championship this
yeah
year.
no
We had that this year. I feel like the Sunflower League has kind of bubbled up a little bit in that time.
well, look at what has been a lot of the bottom of the Sunflower League the last few years. Maybe a Shawnee Mission North, a Shawnee Mission South, a Shawnee Mission West. Shawnee Mission North put 24 points on Lake the West, and Coach Weimer said he goes, no, they've got offense, they've got players, and they're a
Yeah.
pretty solid team, even though they don't have a win. Shawnee Mission South got a
South beat the East
yeah. I
last
mean
week.
that's a team there, and Shawnee Mission West has a win over Lincoln Prep, which is looking like a better win every step of the way. And
Yeah, Lincoln Prep taking out Winnetonka
Minnetonka.
last.
So I mean, they've got some players at Shawnee Mission West, and they're playing better. And when you talk to the guys in the Sunflower League, they're like, "Oh no, there's no easy nights. I mean, you got to go and show up because even a team that's struggling can put a fear into you and make you go." So no, it's Olathe West is coming off the biggest win last week in the league,
Yeah,
in the 6A side of the league. I know Little Mill Valley, we don't want to be down on them. They did beat Shawnee Mission Northwest last week.
it
It
won't
was
be little anymore. This time next year, it'll be 6A. Yeah. Let's shift gears over to the Missouri side. Did we see a bounce back Blue Springs win coming over Rockers here because the Wildcats team that they lost 2 in a row,
yeah, that was a big win
and
for
then they
them.
looked great finishing this game against Rockers.
They had some balls bounce their way. They had basically looked like a
Literally there at the end, yeah. A scoop and score for your own team, like an
yes,
offense
yeah.
scoop and
That was the
score.
last one that kind of went through. But there was an earlier one that almost looked like a hook and ladder. They threw it to the guy and he bobbled it, and the other team, he just happened to be running by at the same time, grabbed it out of the air
Yeah.
and ran it down inside the 10. I think that led to a touchdown. But the last one was Rockers trying to get the ball back, make a play, cause a fumble. The ball literally squirts sideways and forward a little bit where the receiver for Blue Springs is standing. He picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. And no, good bounce back win for them. Rockers is a little beat up, but they're still a dangerous team as well in 5A and or Class 5. And now Blue Springs, Liberty, Blue Springs South, Lee Summit North, Lee Summit. Keep an eye on them. They are getting healthy. They have gone sans quarterback. They have gone a little wildcat with Carson Feeney and the
Really?
healthy
Okay.
Hatfield. I don't know if that's every game they're going to do that, but one game they were primarily out of the wildcat because Carson Feeney's come in and he suddenly has 300 yards rushing after missing about 3 games, and so they're a dangerous team. It's Liberty North is getting better. It's Park Hill is 3-3 with losses to North Kansas City, Liberty and Kearney.
Hmm.
North Kansas City 5-1.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're going to
only
be
that
at their
loss to
game this
Kearney.
week against Oak Park. Yeah.
So I mean,
Uh,
it's pretty it's I think that Blue Spring South last week made a statement. I think that was a statement win. The way they won,
yep.
the manner in which they played. I got to watch a lot of that. It's been a long
It's
time
been a
since
while since, yeah, a local team had gotten Lee Summit North in
they
the
hadn't
regular
lost a conference
season.
game since 2022.
Yeah.
It's only their second or third regular season since I think 21 or something like that loss. Outside, like maybe since the first game, I think of 21 when Liberty North got them in week 1. But that was impressive to me for what Blue Spring South defensively did. They ran sideline to sideline. There was no speed getting to the outside on Blue Spring South on Saturday night, and their physicality on the offensive line. At least Summit North had one drive.
Yeah.
That was a great play by their tight end. They got their tight end downfield, and he's a huge human being, and he took about 4 tacklers with him down inside the 10, and then they scored off that right before halftime. But no, and I will say hats off to Lee Summit North because they were a little sloppy early in the game penalty wise and things like that, but they really played a pretty tight second half, and they just couldn't get anything going
Yeah.
offensively. The defense of Blue Springs, which has now held 5 straight opponents to 7 points, and their starters I think
Wow.
have only given up like 5 or 6 touchdowns all season. I mean, they've given up some points, but a lot of that was the twos after they've come out. So they've got Liberty this week. Liberty got into a dogfight with Park Hill and ended up winning that one. And it was an even numbered week, so Park Hill had to lose. That's the way it is this year. They're forced to lose on the even numbered week. So if you got Park Hill this week, it's an odd number week. So 1-3-5, they're great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, speaking of Liberty, I feel like they're quietly rolling along here at 6-0.
Yeah,
Had a couple dog fights, like you said, with rival Liberty North, Park Hill, a close one, but they're finding ways to win. Lee Summit was a close game to start the season. This team's 6-0 after graduating some linemen and the Simone Award winner last
yeah,
year.
no, they've got a lot of the quarterbacks back, and they still got the good linemen, still got a good defense. They got a big test. Liberty and Blue Spring South have played each other like twice a year. It seems like for the last 4 or 5 years, and a couple times back-to-back games. Last week of the regular
Yeah,
season, first week of the
yeah.
playoffs. So there's not a lot of secrets between these two teams, and it's going to be a really good test for Blue Spring South and for Liberty. And they go opposite ways. So this year, if they see each other again, it's in St. Joe in the state championship game,
Mhm.
which I think they'd both be thrilled with that. That it was if they were a part of that to go that way. But no, Liberty's been impressive, and they faced some adversity for the first time since the Liberty North game. They really didn't face that much adversity in the Liberty North game. They really, it was a close game, but they were kind of in control of that game, and they had to come back and score late, and that was the first time they've had to do that this year, and that was one of the tests that they probably needed to pass. And it's going to be a big time battle at Blue Spring South this week.
Yeah. What do we make of Raytown winning 5 in a row here? Is it competition or whatever? Or the
Well, I think
Booster Cats? Because they've been rolling these teams.
they've been rolling these teams. Their only losses to Grand Valley in week one, and I think Raytown is a program that's on the rise, and they're at the point where okay, now we're going to beat the teams we should beat and beat them. If we're better than them, beat them badly, and they did. And like I said, it's a proved Truman team. They put 62 points on. They are a much improved disciplined team than they have been in the past. Anthony Morgan really came in and really set a tone for that program. And you saw a little last year, they went 5-5. Now they've got tough games coming up. They've got Platte County coming up, and so they've got some tough ones down there
That
at the
Fort
end.
Osage,
And
that
Fort
would be
Osage,
that would be a different win, right? If
that's
they
yeah,
beat
that's
them,
this
right?
week, and
That's
they
a
always play some good
different level
games.
win.
Fort Osage, this is not their best team, but they always are physical, and they're always a tough out no matter what their situation is. So no, Raytown is they've got athletes, they've got some size, and they're very disciplined this year, and you're seeing the success that they have.
All right, next year I want to talk about the Washington Wildcats here, Dion, because we've been texting on the side about them. They're going to finish undefeated, aren't they?
I think they are. Topeka Highland Park is probably their best chance of losing from here on out. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that Highland Park team. They haven't played in 2 weeks. Got a fight with Schlegel 3 weeks ago. The
Yeah.
state suspended them for them and Schlegel for 1 week. The Topeka School District said, well, let's go ahead and take another week off. So they sat last week as
Two
well.
straight 13-0 losses. Yep.
Yeah. So, they hadn't beat Washington hadn't beat Atchison since 2019. And
They put up 80, 80 on them.
82, yeah, 82-48.
Woo.
and and they were, and Atchison's a pretty solid football team and a program that's always good, and they got to attract me. They couldn't stop. I mean, it was like every time I checked in, it was like what, and it was like there's another score. I mean, they were happening. I didn't see any scores because they were happening so fast. I go check other games and come back into that and be like, what? They scored again, and so it's crazy to see, and it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out down the line because. And you have to refresh me. Is it strength of schedule once if you're totally tied across the board in overall record
Points
points?
first.
Well, if you're
Oh, if
tied in
they're tied in
points,
points,
yes.
I don't know if they made
Aquinas
the
and Aquinas
schedule.
and Washington are tied in points because they plus 13 to everybody.
They might
Um,
do total points. I'm not sure after
I thought it was maybe, and it was like win percentage if you didn't play the same amount of games and something. They still have that, but
yeah.
that's not really a thing anymore. That was kind of a
Yeah.
COVID. But I thought it was
Because right
maybe
there, they're all at 13s, and Aquinas is all at 13,
yeah,
correct?
plus 13 on every single
And
game.
Baser's undefeated, but they're not all plus 13s.
No. So it would come down to it might come down to I need to get to Keisha and ask. It might come down to victories above your classification or victories in your classification, which would
Yeah, that
lean
might be it. I bet
lean
that's it.
towards lean towards Aquinas having
Should. I
Blue
mean, they'll
Valley
have a
West,
couple six class,
Blue Valley
6A
Northwest.
teams, and then
Um,
yeah,
I don't know how they do it in Kansas, but Rockers would be a Class 6A school in Kansas on their schedule, or Aquinas' schedule. So I don't know, but that would give them, if they were to beat Rockers and finish out that way, I think that would give them more, um, you know, 5A or 6A wins, and that would make them the 1 seed. And the bottom two teams right now are Turner and Blue Valley Southwest, and Turner got their first win in
yeah.
38, 39 games, I think. Um, last week, and they beat Kip Legacy. So it's it's going to be interesting. But if you're Washington, you're barring some kind of unbelievable collapse, you're getting a home playoff game.
Yeah.
Um, but no, and it's you could have the one seed.
Oh, I think they got that set up right now, right? With 5-0.
I
Yeah.
would think I would think that unless Aquinas is able to plus 13 everybody right along with them, and it goes to
Yeah.
that other tiebreaker. I don't know, but no,
Yeah.
they're in position. They've got a chance to win. The way they beat Atchison says to me that even if they got a Blue Valley Southwest or
Well, and
somebody
it's funny
else,
too. They might, depending on who's that 15 seed, who that 16 seed is, they might want to be the second
yeah,
seed,
second
a
seed, you
certain
get a
team.
Turner
Yeah.
because they have never won a playoff game,
Washington hasn't.
never won a playoff game.
Okay. Pulling for the Wildcats then this year.
Yeah. So no, and Cam Smith, their coach, is the Chiefs coach of the week on the Kansas side, and along with Alan Willis from Blue Springs
Well,
South.
and
And
then their outstanding tailback receiver, what he does everything for him.
Cameron Fields, yeah, he's
Cameron Fields.
800 yards receiving, close to
Like,
400 yards rushing. Savion Stone is 1,000 yards rushing. He may be a 2,000 yards, 3,000 yard passer, 1,500 yard rusher. Um, and see, he's outstanding. He had
one of
nine
them
touchdowns last
accounted
week.
for like 10 touchdowns or something. Nine
Nine
touchdowns
touchdowns. Yeah,
last
nine
week for
touchdowns last
Stone.
week for Savion Stone.
9 touchdowns. Yeah,
And they're not.
he's on our athlete of the week radar. We need to get out there.
Yeah, here's the situation. They are a bigger, more physical team than what they've been in the past. They really committed to the weight room, and this is a group of kids who've been playing since they were freshmen and sophomores,
Yes.
and they're experienced. You're seeing that program. They were on a good run through 2019, and then 2020 hit. They didn't play, and they
Mhm.
kind of had to regroup and not start over. They were probably further ahead than some of the other um, programs in the KCK school district. But taking a year off in football is tough. There's a lot of kids that left the KCK district, and Bishop Ward had a run there for about 3 years where they were very competitive because they had a lot of kids that wanted to play football, so they
Mhm.
went to Bishop Ward. So yeah, it's that KCK league has improved, and Washington's really leading the way.
Nice. All right, Remax, big three games of the week. Let's start on the Missouri side. You have Harrisonville in Class 4, Clinton in Class 3. Clinton's 5-1. Harrisonville, are they 5-1 as
Four
well?
and two.
They're four, yeah, four and
Lost to Cassville. No, they were 5-1.
five
That's
and one, five and
yeah,
one,
five
yeah,
and
five
one.
and one. Yeah,
Cassville's their only loss. Uh, Clinton is one of the stories of the year. They were JV football 3 years ago.
yeah.
They only have 35 guys on the team. They only have 35 guys on the roster. But these are the
Wild for a
kids.
Class 3
Yeah,
school.
he
That's
was
eight
telling me.
man.
I talked to Coach Jake Vincel, who was the head coach at Windsor, who won a Class 1 title about 4 years ago. And he is over at Clinton now. And these are the guys that I think they were freshmen when they were JV, or they were eighth graders when they were JV. And so they really stuck together. They've made a commitment there. They've got good players. He goes, we're playing Pleasant Hill, who's got 100 kids on their team. We're playing Oak Grove, it's got 85 kids on their team. And
Yeah,
he goes, we got 35. And so it's really, they're doing a great job there. They've got a tough run. I mean, they've beaten Pleasant Hill. They hadn't beaten Pleasant Hill since like
yeah,
1999 or something like that. And I know Grove since 2009. And so then they lost, their only loss is to Odessa by 20 early in
yeah,
the second week of the season. So, and that's an Odessa team that looked a little not Odessa-ish early on. They lost to Mexico one week, but they're starting to, under their new coach, really kind of get it going. So that Odessa loss looks a lot better each week. And Harrisonville, they're not the team that their numbers are not as big as they've been. Coach Maxwell told me at the beginning of the season, he goes, our numbers are down. He said,
mhm,
but we've got a good group of guys. And he goes, it's kind of one of those, sometimes you may have 85 kids, but 20 of them aren't invested in what you're doing.
sure.
But if you got 65 and everyone's invested,
Yeah,
you're not dealing with the other 20 that are just there kind of taking up space.
yeah,
And so he said, beginning of the season, he's like, they really like each other. They get along great. They have fun together. And he goes, I think he goes, I'm hoping that'll take us a long way as long as we don't get banged up. He goes,
yeah.
he goes, our depth isn't great, but no, good game for both those teams.
Another Remax Big Three matchup on the Missouri side. Hey, we did Class 4 and Class 3. How about a Class 2 v Class 1
One,
matchup here? Mid-Buck in Class 2, North Platte in Class 1. You got North Platte at 5-1, and Mid-Buck just roll along undefeated here.
yeah, that league is kind of funny to watch week to week because you'll have a team that looks like they were, a 1-3 team. They'll go and beat a 3-1 team. But talking to Coach Fritz from Mid Buchanan, he goes, no, he goes, outside of a couple teams that are really young, like Plattsburgh and I think Penny, he said that all the teams, Lathrop, Lawson, Mid Buchanan, East Buchanan has a bunch of injuries. That's what kind of hurt them this season. But he goes, everybody's got a bunch of seniors who have
Mhm.
played a lot the last 3 years. He goes, so every time you go out there, it's not a young team. It's a veteran team versus veteran team. And he goes, we're pretty tough in that league. And North Platte, they were in the state championship game a few years back. That's a team that's really turned things around in the last 5 years. They went from a long losing streak to a state championship game. And Coach Jared Quigley, the former Staley defensive back, when he was in high school, has done a great job with that program. And of course, Aaron Fritz has done a fantastic job with his program there. And I think it's his ninth or 10th year at Mid Buchanan. And they were really down when he took over, and they've been to a state championship game, been to the semifinals, been to all those things. So, no, that's a great KCI conference, Class 1, Class 2 matchup.
All right, and of course we have Blue Springs South hosting Liberty, correct?
Yes.
The big games, two undefeated teams of the night of the year so far in Kansas City. It helped me out whenever I think I'm going to understand the seating and for brackets and the districts and all that stuff in Missouri. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to ask Dion. So I'm asking you now, what does this mean for district, seating, all that stuff?
Well, for Liberty has kind of locked up their district seating. Park Hill's number two behind them, and like Park Hill and Park Hill South are not in the same district, but and like North Kansas City is with Lee Summit North, um, Lee Summit West, and so that district is the district, and then Staley, Liberty, Park Hill, that St. Joe Central are all in that district. So Liberty
Yeah,
district wise is in a really good spot. Blue Springs
yeah.
South needs to keep winning
They're in a
out.
battle, right?
They're in
Yeah,
a battle because Jeff City Helias
Elias
is
and
in
Hickman.
there, and yeah, I mean, and they're plus 13 and everybody, so it really shouldn't matter if they keep it up. But a loss could drop them behind Elias and make them have to go on the road or play, and possibly if Blue Springs, depending on what's happened the next week with them in Blue Springs. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're Blue Springs South, you got to be careful. You had one of the best ones in your program in the last 7 or 8 years, and if you're not careful, you got Liberty and Blue Springs the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
You're suddenly looking at a 3 seed,
Yeah.
which is more road games than you probably want. Now, if you're good enough to get out of your district and you played 2 road games in the district, then you're golden because then you're hosting quarterfinals and semifinals because it's all how many games you hosted coming out of that. But I don't think that anybody wants to go to Jeff City to play Elias. I think if Blue Springs or Blue Springs South was going to play a playoff game in Blue Springs, they wanted to play it in their home stadium. They don't want to go to the other side of town to do it. So, or Columbia Hickman for that matter. The thing about it is that district that Blue Springs and Blue Springs South are in is Rockbridge, Hickman, and
Yeah,
Jeff City Helias.
basically, yeah, the Columbia schools.
And
Yeah.
they don't play the same. It's not even
Yeah, the records look great, but yeah,
the
Hickman and
schedules,
Rockbridge aren't playing the schedule that Blue Springs South and Blue Springs are.
and we hear every year that Rockbridge is unbelievable. They've got all this talent. And, Park Hill went there and beat them by like almost 30 the first week of the season, and Park Hill's a very good, solid team. It goes back to, and this is still one of the funniest
But they're
stories
three
ever.
and three in Kansas City.
Yeah, they're 3-3 in Kansas City. And this is in 2013, maybe 2012, 2013. It was 2013. Tom Cruise and Ray Peck go play Rockbridge at Rockbridge, and I think they were a 4-3 team or something like that, or a 4-2 team, and they go play Rockbridge and they beat Rockbridge at Rockbridge. And Tom, who was also the AD, is walking off the field, and the AD from Rockbridge comes up to him. He's like, "Man, we hope to see you again in the state championship game." And Cruz shakes his hand and goes, "Okay." And he goes, I turn around and going, "I'm the sixth best team in my town, maybe."
Yeah.
And Rockbridge made it to the state championship game that year with 5 losses coming
Well,
out of that side. And Blue Springs were up 28-0
yeah.
halfway through the second quarter, and basically just kind of cruised from there on. But I had somebody tell me, he's like, "Well, Rockbridge played them closer than anybody else." I was like, they threw the parachute out halfway through the second
Yeah.
quarter of their second straight state championship.
Yeah, exactly. All right, over on the Kansas side, Remax Big Three games of the week: Spring Hill and Paola.
An improved Paola team.
Speaking of Harrisonville, the old Harrisonville head coach, Fred
Yep.
Bouchard.
Yeah, Fred Bouchard. They're 5-1, only lost to Eudora, and talked to Coach Bouchard this week, and he said they've got the team has really taken to what they put in, the new stuff they put in this year defensively. He goes, that's really he feels like that's one of the strengths of his team, that yeah, they can score some points and do those things, but they're defensively they're pretty good. And he goes in the, and also he said, back in the day, back in the '90s, Paola Spring Hill was the rivalry. When Paola was really good, when going to state championship games, that was Spring Hill was a smaller town then, and they were
Hmm.
really he said he got a guy on staff who played in Paola and was telling stories about what it was like playing in some of those games against Spring Hill,
Hmm.
nasty and like that. And Paola's under Mike Smith has done a great job. They've been kind of down the last few years. Played a lot of young guys. They've got a Shea, a member of the Shea family.
Brian Shea, yeah.
Yeah,
Is his son?
I don't. Fred did not know if it was a son or a nephew.
Okay.
But there's a Shea
Could
who's
be
a
either,
sophomore
right?
tailback,
Yeah. He could be old enough to be,
playing
yeah,
really well for Paola.
absolutely.
So yeah, that's a good game for both teams. They won't see each other in the postseason going forward. And Paola is a sneaky team in 4A. Eudora's really kind of puffed their chests out, and we know Miege is going to be there in the end. But keep an eye on a Paola team, especially depending on where they come out of that bracket.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. You have Olathe West at Mill Valley on Friday, and an upstart Olathe West team. We talked about a Mill Valley team is kind of cruising along at 4-1, only lost to Lee Summit North. But this could be a good one in the Sunflower League.
Well, and talking to Coach Weimers, you know, he said that that it was nice to not have to play another Flexbone team because they've played a couple of them already, a couple three of them
Gardner.
already.
They played China Mission East.
Yeah,
They played China
he goes,
Mission Northwest. Yeah.
he goes now Mill Valley's not gonna. He goes they're gonna run down. You're gonna run downhill at you. He goes, but they still want an option to do those things. He goes, so we'll be able to take some of those things with them. But you know it, Mill Valley's a two tail. I mean, Reggie Reese has been nicked up and hasn't played. And is it Max Hova? Is that his name?
Max Piva
Piva.
is outstanding junior running back. Mill Valley has three outstanding playmakers. They're across the board in
Yeah,
Kansas City. It doesn't get much better than those three. And some areas where they need to work, but those three, Blake J and Max Piva and Reggie Reese, are just fun to watch with the ball in their hands.
yeah.
But
So they don't.
like the West got that kid Hale, the quarterback.
Yeah, Hale's having a great season. And we talked about him earlier with Krasowski, the receiver, and they're dangerous at any place. And like he said, he goes, I don't want to compare them to Kelsey and Mahomes. He goes, but they played together long enough. He goes, because there's a lot of stuff that we didn't call.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
Brody drops back and looks around, he's making a play with his feet, and then finds Sam down the field, and they make a big play there. So no, that's a good game for both those teams. A good test as they get ready to kind of wind down the regular season here.
It'll be a fun game too. The Today Show will be there Friday morning at
Friday
Mill Valley.
morning.
And then they'll have a camera at the game for Friday night, and they air the highlights during the Sunday night football game, which is what they do for a local team, local game each week. So that'll be cool to see. Some of those kids see themselves up there during Sunday night football, where the Chiefs will. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be winning or losing or.
I thought they were going to win by
Who
three
knows?
touchdowns 10 minutes into the game Monday night. And Monday night football look, we're doing this on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. We're all behind. Everyone's behind.
Yes, that really threw a wrench into. And then what I think is, I mean, lost a little bit with the loss last week. Rockhurst losing to Blue Springs, but I think this along with Liberty Blue Springs South, the game of the week in Kansas City. Rockhurst going to St. Thomas Aquinas in a cross-state battle. Rockhurst is a good 10 to 12 feet into the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
So two different states there. But a storied rivalry here. A lot of kids that grew up going to grade school and middle school together, and now they're different Catholic schools, and that's going to be a big time fun atmosphere at Aquinas.
Well, and Coach Donahoe said that they've got he said that he feels like they've got to play their A game and hope to force Aquinas in their B game because the way Aquinas is playing right now. He had high praise for their offensive and defensive lines, and especially the way Cal Arnt's run the ball. And he goes, he's physical and he's fast, and he said, we're going to have to play well. And they're a little banged up, but they've got some guys that are hurt. But these have been good games when they played, and I assume it's going to be again a good game when they go back to the overtime win from Rockhurst a couple years ago, where the guy who was doing the play-by-play was basically burying Rockhurst at halftime. How finally after all these years,
I think I would have too. I think Mike Tirico might have, and then Aquinas came all the way back, or Rockhurst. Yeah,
yeah, that was a crazy one. And that I don't know who did the play-by-play, but it was and then at the end it sounded like someone had died in his family watching that.
Oh, that's pretty good. That covered it all. I think that covers all to.
Yeah, we got. I think we're doing offensive lineman this week on the elite team. That's
Okay,
going
so
well.
tell me some O linemen in town. I know Free State's got a monster.
The
I
Wellness
know
kid is
Liberty's got a
really
guy,
good.
right? Who else?
Um, and Jude Cousins is one of the guys at Blue Spring South. Blue Spring South just, and maybe I'm biased because I see the size of them up close. Maybe
Hmm.
once a week. They've got some large humans who play on that offensive line. They're
LaMarcus Barber could be in the conversation there.
yes,
At Mill Valley is going to K-State next year. Trying to think who else.
I'll be
Who
digging them
else
up.
is out
That's
there?
we're as of this taping, we have yet to dive into that podcast and that
Nice.
story. So we'll be working on
Speaking of
that.
Aquinas, they've got a
Carroll,
Carroll.
yeah,
The
Stephen
youngest
Carroll. He's
Carroll is
one of the members of the elite team last year.
he's an O lineman, D lineman. He can play either side, and it's just
Oh,
ferocious
and don't get on
offensive.
the wrestling mat with him.
No, no, it's funny. I feel like they've all played different positions. Like between the three, they've all played like all the positions of the football field.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's Stevens, and he's one of the kids we got to know last year in the league team. Really nice guy, nice kid. I
yeah,
mean, it's funny because we did defensive lineman last week, and Ron L. Johnson from Blue Springs is this very well mannered, not soft spoken. I wouldn't call him that, but when you stand next to him, you
hmm
don't really want to be next to him if he's got pads and a
yeah,
helmet on. I mean, that's the thing. It's like a lot of these kids, they seem to have the ability to turn it on and off, which is a great thing to do
it
because
is.
not
Yeah,
everybody can do that, especially at this age. And Stephen Carroll and Ronald Johnson last year, who were on the team along with Cal Art, who was on the team last year, it was a fun photo shoot that we got to know those kids, and it was a good time. And they're all three of those guys are having great seasons.
no, love it, love it. We have. I mean, feel bad. We should talk about Platte County a lot more than we do. I'm like, it's a good play. I mean, what's the latest on the stats for
Oh, Rocco,
Rocco Marriott?
you know
And did he
the
have another
kid
five
from
touchdowns last week?
yeah, I think he had 5 touchdowns last week. You know there's a kid from on the Missouri side who caught him in yardage.
On the
Um,
Missouri side. Well, and there's the kid, the Aiden Scott kid from Shawnee
well, no,
Heights.
almost.
He has a
The
ton of yards.
the St. Joe Central kid is 11 yards behind him now. Now
Okay.
he's completing 54% of his passes.
And
Um,
what's Rocco at 80? He's at
Rocco
80.
is at 80,
80.
80 with 27 touchdowns, and
Well, and
Cannon
then what's St. Joe Central's
Wettloffer.
record?
Um, I think they're 3-2.
Well, and he's
Aiden
playing
Scott,
the whole
eight,
game
you know
in
who
front of
has more than
Marriott.
5 games is Aiden Scott from Shawnee Heights. He's
Yeah,
got 1956. Now
yeah. It's
they
all
throw
80.
it.
He's throwing it 200 times this year.
They throw it all over the place. They don't running is a
When they
thing
want to
they
run,
don't
they
need.
throw.
Yeah.
I mean, 80% completion. He's 109 for 135 is Marriott.
Yeah.
And that's updated, right? Yeah, through
Yeah,
six
that's
games.
this week's, yeah.
27 touchdowns
At
already.
what is
That's
not quite their
four
midway
and a
point.
half a game.
Yeah. Is not quite their mid. If they were to go to a state championship game, they would play
60.
to
He'll
14.
play
He's got a
14
chance to hit
games, right?
60.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's on pace for more
Yeah.
than 60. It's funny. We talked about last week. I feel like Bill Lutz he can do whatever. That offense, I mean, it's just what two D1 tight ends, a D1 receiver. I'm probably missing some other D1 guys. They can do whatever they want. And they've
Yeah.
decided to, like, we're going to have Rocco throw for 5 touchdown
But they
passes.
don't throw. I mean, look, look at where his number is to get to 1845. He's only thrown 135 times, where the
Well,
St.
I
Joe
know, but I
Central
mean,
kid's
like, I'm
191.
just saying they're inside the 10. They could score probably with 6 different dudes on the field,
Gisler, their
50 different
tailback had
ways. They're like,
had
we're going to put it in
the
Rocco's hands.
yeah, I think he had 3 touchdowns last week. The tailback Gisler. I think he's
It's
been
fun.
nicked
I
up a
mean,
little bit.
we shoot their games and come back and just it's all fun, just perfect spiral balls. Going to the end zone, guys catching him from Rocco. It's been a fun year.
He's got all the throws. There's no doubt about that, and he can run it and do everything that you can ask a guy to do. And we don't talk about recruiting a ton, but he's committed to James Madison, and he is an
We'll see how much
example.
longer that because
Well,
West
he's an
Virginia just
example
offered him.
of what the changing landscape is.
Yeah,
Do you go somewhere if you're not guaranteed to start? Do you go somewhere where you are and you can put
yeah.
up film, and then you're portaling it if you want to go up to a Power Five or one of
Well,
those?
and then a lot of times you might. I mean, these coaches, these teams, these college teams won't know their roster really till December.
Yeah,
So might be wise just gonna wait for that. Maybe wait for that second signing period to come through when they know, and all of a sudden it might be a Auburn comes up and is like, hey, we just lost our quarterback and we lost another, in the class, we lost another to the transfer portal. You would come in and be the number 2 guy right away. Okay, right?
yeah.
I believe he's that good. He's at that level where he can
Well,
go.
and the West Virginia, and I think we talked about that story last week, where the West Virginia coaches were in town to watch Lawrence, and they went over to
I thought
watch
the Washburn
Washburn
Rural
Rural
kids, right?
Kid,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're like, Who is this guy?
Oh, by the way, I don't see for sure. I don't think it'll happen this week, but Banks Bowen is a hair away from starting.
That's what you were saying.
Oklahoma
Former Lawrence
State.
quarterback at Oklahoma State.
He's gone from Tulsa to, which says a lot about Oklahoma State, but a lot about him, and that he can get to a Power Four school and be right there right away. And so hopefully, man, get some reps. He was in the game, I think, last week. Start building that confidence, and we'll see if he stays Oklahoma. We'll see if anybody stays Oklahoma State. There's just a mess down there. Good on Banks.
And good for Banks. He's
Good for Banks.
yeah, he had a good career there at Lawrence. So no, it's season's rolling right along, and here we are 7 weeks in.
Yep. We're 7 weeks in. This is Snap Tackle Pod. We'll be here next week for week 8 and all that stuff. But 1 week at a time.
Eat your
Enjoy
tots.
your games on Friday or Thursday or whenever they are. Turn on KSHB. You're still eating your tots. Man, turn on KSHB on the flights at 10 o'clock, and then always have the Preps KC app, or rather the website, on your phone at all times for updated scores all night. That it, Dion?
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
That's it for Dion.
I'll finish my tots over here.
Finish your tots.